So happy you're here and so much love. Click the like, subscribe, and share so we can keep growing and shifting the world together to a better place to live and be. Now, if you're on my Telegram, you heard me talk about, and you can click below there, the Patreon, come and join me. You heard me talk about why you look at people's lives and you go, why is their life so much better than mine? Like, what did I do wrong? Like, why did you drew the short straw. I used to ask myself that all the time. And I'd be like, I got the short straw. What's happening? I've got all this stuff I got to go through and all this chaos. And it can quite be overwhelming. But if you look in our world, what have they done? They've done this comparison energy. So let's always compare. And then we feel less than, or we may not feel worthy, or there's just all this energy that comes up in our body, right? Well, I want to tell you, as empaths, there's different roads we take and different journeys that we set out to before we come down. So I always say, if you look at the world, you got to look at like up here. So go to the heavenly realm or whatever you want to call it, or the universe, and you're up there and you're looking at all these people and you're going, I want you to treat me like shit. I want you to manipulate me. I want you to steal from me. I want you to do, and you're like orchestrating this. So they're just there going, okay, I'll do that. So I will come as your husband or your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your boss, your parents, whatever. You tell them all what they're going to do. And then you come down to Earth School and you go, I get the short straw. What the F was I thinking, right? So then you start to beat yourself up because you forget that you were up in that realm before you came down saying, I want to learn these lessons. I want to come through these karmic endings so I don't have to repeat them again. A lot of people, they just sit in stuff that isn't working for them. Guess what? You're going to leave and you're going to come back and do it again. So if you don't work through the karmic lesson, which we're not taught to do in school, you're going to actually have to come back and do a lot of these things again. So you want to complete as many cycles as possible. Look at it like a chess game, right? Or, your snakes and ladders game. You go up, and you hit a snake, right? You hit that one where that person is lying, cheating, manipulating, and all of a sudden, boom, you go back down. You're like, oh, you didn't technically go back down, but it feels like you did because you're here. You have to learn the lesson, the experience, so you don't do it again. Then you'll come back up and you'll move again on the next piece of the board. That's kind of this game of life, right? That's how it works. It's not about having 2.5 kids and a spouse you're not happy with and, buying a car and retiring at 55 and living the life that we know the elites want you to live. It's not about that. That is not why we're here. So when you look at somebody and you say they have such an easy road, 99.9%, this was told to me a long time ago and it made sense, and I want to share it is so you can understand and not be so hard on yourself. 99.9% of the time, those people that appear to have an easier life and like nothing traumatic, they haven't experienced anything that many of you and I have experienced, is because their lifetime before was extremely horrific. So you look at people that had, what they went through in Auschwitz and stuff like that is what I use. Like it's scenarios like this where so horrific, you would die in these places and you would never want to come back. You would never want to go through and learn any other experiences. You'd be like the kid hiding going, no, I'm never going back there. But your soul that's evolving has things that it needs to learn. So there's a gentleness. The universe is very gentle and very kind. It really is. And so there's a gentleness. So when you come back, usually after a horrific lifetime, you will find it's kind of simple. It's ease. You're like, okay, I got the money I need, and my husband or wife's okay. Great, but it's all right. It sort of works. You will be given ease and grace so you can come back and gently, bring yourself in. So if you came back with another horrific lifetime like that, that would fracture so many things in your spirit. So you come back, it's more ease, it's more grace. So when you leave again and you look back, you go, that was not so bad. Now when I come back, I want to work on, and you create your list, and then you tell your people what you're going to work on and how they're going to help you. So quite often we look at people and, I've been brought into people's lives where they've asked, I've had people where they've told me, they've asked to change a certain behavior or pattern. They wanted to receive more. They wanted to receive more love or kindness or financial flow or something, right? And when it starts to manifest for them and they have that energy, they get very, very, very scared, and then they go back to very bad habits, and they'll find ways to remove you out of their life, right? Whether it's your friend, your lover, your boss, your mother, father, whatever. It's across the board. And what they were challenged to do at that time was to show up differently, right? To show up differently so they could get something that they've been asking for to show up differently. Now, if we reject that and we don't show up differently, then we slide down like the snakes and ladders game. I hate snakes. I hate snakes. I will tell you. I think anybody that likes snakes, this is just my point of view, you must have some connection to the reptilians in the past of this world, because they're just creepy on every front. But we'll use the snakes and ladders game, right? So what happens is then they move up, and then they could have better, but then the snake energy will pull them back down, right? The snakes pull them down, the ladders pull them up. And I always say we're in the ladder of life. So your job on the ladder of life is to keep pulling people up with you, right? We're all equal, but to pull people up. So if you actually have people that you look at and you say, it's not fair, their life is easy, they've got this great spouse, or they have these great jobs, or they're happy, or whatever. One, they would have had some challenges to work through for sure, but they would be easier challenges. So sometimes it could be just making sure you make yourself happy, or maybe it's just weight loss. It could be something simple versus abuse or rapes or traumas that other people will come back to learn to get through, to really anchor in your self-worth and who you are. So a lot of times people forget that, and I want to remind you, because as an empath, it can be frustrating. You can be going through your struggles and say, why can't I have that? Or that hasn't shown up for me yet. But it's only because you've chosen a different path. So if you can go to the energy and thank all these people, thank them all for showing up in your life, thank them for being jerks for you because you asked them to come here to be that jerk so you could have a karmic ending. And that's why. And when you learn it, the cycle completes, and then you're going to get better, better, better. So just look in the energy and look at all the people and go, wow, I told them to treat me like that. I told them to be like that to me. I was the creator and master of my life. Remind yourself that. Just repeat that. I am the master and creator of my life. So you told all them so you could learn. The key where people get stuck when they're doing energy work is they don't learn. They just keep going in the same cycle. So rather than looking back and saying, okay, I'm going to do something different. A lot of times if you've had a really challenging life, so I talk about this a lot in my book and in my academies, is I know for me, it took me 5 years of doing my work before I could actually look back and go, oh, it was really good. I had a lot of pain to go through and a lot of, heartache to work through and a lot of challenges that had showed up in my life, not only physically, but emotionally, right? So it took me 5 years. At the end of the 5 years, I was like, oh my God, that life was better than ever before. Oh, I'm going to keep going, right? And there's a lot of times I wanted to stop the path because there was so much. So a lot of times when you are on the verge of getting what you want, mass chaos will happen. It's like the Tower card moment, right? Mass chaos. And I'll pull a card for you guys today to see, just to confirm what we're saying. But it is mass chaos, and so you will get it. And so rather than blaming people, say, okay, I called this person in to make a change in my life, and with that change, I have to have chaos. You're not going to not have chaos. You're going to have heartache, heartbreak, betrayal. Like, it's all going to come up, and it's going to feel very, very chaotic. But that's all because what happened is you need to break up with the old. What do you think's going on in the world right now? We all agreed to be here right now because of what's going on in the world. And you're going to find people that are going to go through this transition with very much ease and grace because they're doing their work. And you're going to find other people that are going to be in chaos. It's the same thing. What did you sign up for? What was your role that you picked to be in during this time? What is the role you're playing out during this time? You got to ask yourself that, and that's the energy. So I want to call in all the angels and guides and all the spirits and just ask all of our teams, anybody that watches this video, please click the like, subscribe, and share. It does really help our community, and it helps us grow and helps me do what I do every day to be able to come here a couple times a week and on Telegram. It really does, so thank you. So what is anybody listening, what do we need to know about energies where they may have been more difficult for you, but easier for those around you? And what is the message that Spirit has for you? And then also, what is it your role? What do you feel you signed up for right now? You might have that nudge that it's time to do what you love. I was in corporate, guys, forever. I bought and sold, my first company at 26. And then I was really in the financial space and different spaces. I had lots of different things. until I hit this big crescendo in my life and I had to make a decision, do what I love and trust, and which is why I'm doing what I am today. It's very scary to go do what you love. And then it's scary, but it put me on my path to better, 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 better. So when you're doing things that are in alignment with your soul, it'll be better, better, better. If you're doing things based out of fear, it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse over time if you're not shifting that and making an actionable step. So that's why some people have a much better, road than you, because they just came off of a very, very, very traumatic life. So I asked what they had, which is the Four of Air, which would be, it says time to rest, take a vacation. So this is a time where we can just sort of sit and just rest and just really go within. And this is big confirmation too, when we're looking at the shift in the world and yourself, to just go within. I've got the other cards. I know some of you have asked me to bring them out, so maybe I will. I like the angel cards still. They're just nice and sweet. The next one's the King of Earth, which is time to buckle down and get things done, which is really confirmation to what we're saying. If there's things in your life that you are feeling are not moving, it's time for you to grab your energy, and it's time for you to work for what you desire. Not what anybody else is telling you, but for what you desire, which is going to make your life flow easier. So it's more ease and grace when you really get honest with yourself. I did a newsletter recently about the world not being honest with itself. And, when we're not honest with ourselves, right? And then it creates more chaos. We got to get really honest. And those are the ones that hurt. Like, I remember when I had to look in the mirror and go, oh my God, I do that. I got to stop doing that. I cried my eyes out. I was like, this is a pattern that I've had for so long. And I realized I had to break up with it. So breaking up with your patterns is the same thing as breaking up with a relationship with someone that you may have been involved in. So it's crazy. The Seven of Water is a complex decision that needs to do some research. Stop procrastinating. These are so beautiful. And it is. It's about moving forward. It's about gathering your intuitive research, your intuitive abilities, and taking those intuitive abilities, looking, their spirit's showing, it's like you're looking on the horizon, you're just doing this, right? And you're like, okay, what direction do I want to go? How do I want this to unfold? How can I bring this energy into my life? And that's what it's about right now. It's about looking at the energy that you can shift in your life. And a lot of times, when I pull cards, a lot of times what people forget, I see, feel, and hear, and what people forget is that we can tell you this, anybody can tell you stuff like this all day long, but what are you doing to shift your energy to create that in? What are you doing to shift it? So here is, maybe you want an apology from somebody. Then what you would do is you drop the light around you, drop the light around them, and then ask to bring that energy forward. So you'll be like, I believe it, I receive it, I accept it, thank you, God, or universe divine. I believe it, I receive it, I accept it, universe, thank you, universe. I believe it, I receive it, I accept it, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, universe, thank you, universe, thank you, universe, thank you, spirit, whatever you want to say. You always want to thank spirit for what you're bringing through. Constantly thank spirit and strengthen them. So thank you, God, strengthen them to give me the apology. Now, it may not come directly from them. It could come from somebody else. So I've had, for example, I had somebody quite a long time ago come into my life, and it was very brief, a long time ago. And then they called me and said, Trace, like, we hadn't talked for quite a while, and can we sit down? Do you have a few minutes for coffee? And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. And we met, and he just said to me, he said, I want to apologize, not only for my behavior, but for every man who treated you so poorly. And I want to apologize because you didn't deserve any of that. He said, you're one of the kindest, gentlest people I've ever met, and I want to apologize for them. I was like, wow, but I got it. He showed up to apologize for them. But see, I was picking these people because I had a karmic ending, and I had to learn to know what my value and worth was. And I was able to see that through those people. Now, I was able to grasp that. A lot of people couldn't, but I took the apology, and I was like, thank you. Thank you for apologizing on behalf of all of these people. I really appreciate it. And that opens your energy up for releasing and letting go to allow other things to come forth. Now, it doesn't mean that you've completely ended the cycle, but it allows you to look at things differently. So, click the like, subscribe, and share, please. I would love it if you did. Join me in the Telegram or Patreon or Miraculous Academy, wherever you are, if you want to learn more. Miraculous Academy is for people who only really understand the energy work. Patreon would be more for the gentle, the gentle easing in, where I give you updates throughout the month. But also, and we focus on health, wealth, and intuition. But also remember, if somebody else has an easier life than you, don't get mad at them. They probably had a life before this that was really, really, really bad and very traumatic. So just like baby steps, they have to come back into earth with baby steps to make it better. All right. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being amazing. Never forget how powerful you are. Just believe it, receive it. I accept it. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Just repeat that all day long. And remember, Spirit has something really big and special for you. So don't forget, you are here during this time for a reason. Much love. Comment below and have a beautiful day.